Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hoodoo Unleashed with the Broken Prophet. This episode, edition, or whatever you want to call it, we're going to talk about Bible magic. Yes, Bible magic. You know, I key the next video off of a lot of, excuse me, a lot of your questions through the text line or through email, because honestly, you guys know, I never really have a plan. I just kind of do things. Okay. But you guys will ask me questions, and then I figure, well, that's pretty good fodder for another show, another episode, another edition. So that's what we're going to talk about this go round. All right. We're going to talk about Bible magic, Bible spell work, and the Bible in hoodoo, because that's always up for debate, which I don't think it should be, but I don't know. You got so many people putting out books and things. They'll tell you why they're trying to take the Bible out of hoodoo, which you absolutely cannot do. So we'll get into that. All right. But first, you guys, a lot of you have been sending me messages and whatnot about this damn rose quartz egg that I showed you a few videos back. Y'all know I don't really deal with a whole bunch of stones, crystals, whatnot. I really only worked with a couple. One being iron pyrite or fool's gold. And no, this is not an egg shape because I use that for money drawing. And the other being, this black stone here, which I'm wearing, which keeps away spirits and negativity. Those are really the only stones I work with. But, because, a loved one who was really into stones and crystals, kind of hit me to them. I was at a store. I think I told y'all in another video. I was at a store and hanging out with my god sister and, goddaughters, and decided to buy a few. Well, while I was buying them, I decided, I wanted some rose quartz just because, folks have been telling me about how wonderful this shit is. So I said, I'll buy this rose quartz. And it just so happened it was in the shape of an egg. And I'm like, okay, cool. Fuck it, I'll buy it. I mean, it was cheap. And then you guys are sending me messages. And I think I mentioned in another video about Yoni Eggs. And you guys were sending me messages about it being a Yoni egg and stuff like that. And, I have no idea if it is or if it isn't. It might just be a rose quartz egg. But so many of you ladies were sending me messages about Yoni eggs. And I always told you guys the same thing. I'm never surprised or shocked by shit people will try nowadays. I'm not saying, speaking about their effectiveness or ineffectiveness. I really don't know. I mean, I don't have the apparatus necessary to test this theory out. But hey, whatever y'all want to do, fine. Y'all were asking me all those questions about it, and the only thing that came into my mind was, I hope I didn't buy this motherfucker used. No, it was brand new. It was brand new. So anyway, that's that. I mean, guys, I have no idea. Y'all honestly know more about stones and crystals than I do, other than the one I wear, an iron pyrite, but I'm slowly learning. But that was that. Don't ask me about stones. I have no idea. I'll direct you to people who do know about stones and stuff like that. All right. Also, y'all know, most of you know, Sundays I, have a prayer line. Well, no, I take prayer requests. So if you have a situation you want me to pray for you, I will do it. I mean, it's absolutely free of charge. I know some people charge for prayer. I think that's bullshit. I don't charge to pray for folks and their situations, all right? And I always buy, at the beginning of the week, I buy a big-ass bag of tea lights. And I light a tea light for you as I pray for you. So, if you're watching this video, there's always time. Just shoot me a text. The text line number is below. A lot of you will post in the comment section wondering how to get in touch with me. Just look below the video and you will see my contact information right before the description of the video. All right, not the title, but right before the description of the video, you'll see my contact information. I know it's some kind of way to make that shit flash up here. I don't know how to do it. All right, so I'm ready. We're gonna get into this video on the Bible and Bible magic, spell work, and all that good stuff. Like I said, I'm ready. Got my adult beverage here. Y'all see me burping. Sorry, pardon me. Excuse me. And I drank my apple cider vinegar, which I talked about in the last one. In my quest for weight loss, that's the nastiest tasting shit ever. Okay. And this is the last pause. I'm gonna get into this video, but apple cider vinegar is the nastiest shit ever. You know what it reminds me of? You know how you change the trash can, and sometimes when you lift the trash bag out, you got like that liquid down at the bottom, and it's kind of smells a little rank. That's what apple cider vinegar reminds me of. Yeah, but y'all tell me it's good for me, so I'm trying it, and I'm trying. But anyway, the Bible. I know a lot of you have a knee-jerk reaction to the Bible. I do. I know this. That's why so many of you, and a lot of it stems from, let's be honest, is from negative interactions, not with the Bible, but with Christians. Wherever you have something with people in it, people will fuck it up, and I understand that. But you cannot cut yourself off from a source of power with your hoodoo. Because contrary to what a lot of people are saying out there is no such thing as hoodoo without the Bible. Now, if someone's giving you spells and they're telling, oh, you don't have to, use, the Bible, you don't have to pray, blah, blah, blah. It may look like hoodoo, but it's not hoodoo. Not conjure, not root work, none of that shit. It's not. Hoodoo and the Bible are, you can't divorce them from each other. It's impossible. So to take it out, you might be doing something like I've said in earlier videos that's hoodoo inspired, of hoodoo origin. But it's not authentic Southern hoodoo. And, I especially hate it when I see a lot of my brothers and sisters that, just, they're like, the Bible, I don't fuck with that. It's all about Osar and Set and Ra and all. Hey, brothers and sisters, believe me, I understand. Okay? I encourage all of us to get in touch with our African ancestry. I do. I'm from the South. We love us some Jesus down here. But it's in getting in touch with my African ancestry that led me to be initiated as a priest of Palo Mayombe. And the two, coincide well. I practice them separately. But, they do marry well together. So, and I see a lot of brothers and sisters, they're getting into Ifa, which is great. Palo, which is great. Voodoo, which is great. But you cannot, in trying to practice hoodoo without the Bible because of your other beliefs, you're cutting yourself off from a source of power from your work. And don't let your negative interactions with Christians or maybe the church growing up, cause you to weaken yourself spiritually. The early ancestors, and it's so true, and a lot of marketeers, they'll tell you this, well, they didn't come here as Christians. Well, that's true. That is wholly true. But you know what? Instead of me trying to talk to y'all like this, let's have story time for a second. I want you all to imagine yourselves. Imagine yourselves in the cargo hold of a ship. Taken away from your family, your friends, and your loved ones. You're hungry. You're thirsty. Every so often they'll throw some flour, water mixture at you. Maybe, douse you with water, hoping that, some of it get in your mouth long enough to keep you alive. Because you're worth your weight in gold in the new world. So there you are, in the dark, huddled together with people you don't know. Might even be, someone from a tribe you were warring with. But y'all have a common enemy now. That dark, that cold, the sickness that's spreading, the people that have you in chains, and that boat is rocking like I am in this chair. That boat is just a rocking, and it's a rocking, and it's a rocking. And then here comes the storms, because that's a long ride, yeah. Here comes the storms. And the boat is being tossed about. Because, see, my Ifa people, we know about Yemaya. All my Palo folks, we know about Madre de Agua. My Voodoo folks, that's La Serene out there. Depending on which part of Africa you're from. And she's upset. There are her children in the hold of that ship time and time again. And she is upset. She is angry. And she wants to take them all down. A lot of them wanted to go, but there rises one voice, maybe 2, 3, 4, singing the songs to Madre Agua, singing the songs to La Serene, singing the songs to Yemoya. They're telling her, well, Mama, we understand you want to take them down, but if you take them down, you'll take us down too. down to the depths, down to Olokun, down to Mama Kalunga, down to the bottom. But in her anger and in her sadness and her fury, she's rocking that boat, tearing boards off. Maybe a time or two, somebody broke free, jumped overboard as an offering, as a sacrifice, down to Kalunga, down to Olokun, down to the depths for safe passage. Because, believe me, they wanted to be home. But they knew, we were born of a warrior spirit, a fighting spirit, our people. If they could just make it. Because they understand ancestry, and they understand it's not just about the ancestors behind, but it's for those who will come after us. And if we die on this ship, who's going to come after? So they made it to the shore of this foreign land. Some, once they were offloaded, walked back into the sea. We have, a memorial down at Igbo Landing here in Georgia of just such an occurrence where folks, ancestors got off the ship and still bound in chains walked back into the sea as an offering rather than to stay here. But a lot of us, within the spiritual community, and those of you who have been through a situation where someone, that we love was taken from us, a lot of times the strength isn't in leaving. The strength is in staying put, biding your time, and waiting. And see, from those people who decided, we will bide our time, and we will wait, and we will do one thing: we will survive. A new tribe was born. The tribe of Kalunga, the tribe of Olokun, the tribe of the sea. And here we are. And here we are, offloaded, and we were given this thing here that we were not allowed to learn how to read. And we were cut off from our spirits, because if you were caught praying to Olokun, if you were caught praying to Yemoya, if you were caught praying to Mata Deaga, wow, you felt that lash. That gets your attention real quick. It don't break your spirit all the time, but it'll sure lock these things shut so you don't speak those words. Now, in places like Haiti, Cuba, and even Louisiana, they were under Catholic rule. So the ancestors that landed there were able to kind of tuck their beliefs behind these things here. Saints. So the overseer coming in would say, oh, well, y'all being good Christians, praying to Saint Anthony. But we knew that in reality, this was Nkuyu. This was Alegua. We knew who this was in reality. But what about the ones who came to the American South? See, the American South was under Protestant rule, not Catholic. There were no saints here. A lot of, you ask your Southern cousins about Catholicism, and a lot of them say, oh, that's idol worship. They consider the saints idol worship. It's nothing but three folk: the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. That's it. Wasn't no saints. You pray straight to Jesus and God, and that's it. Wasn't no saints. You didn't talk to God's mama. You didn't pray to the Virgin Mary. That's what kind of kills me when I see a lot of these conjure books and hoodoo books being written, and they have 1 million saints, but they claim to be authentic Southern hoodoo. How in the hell you authentic Southern hoodoo? We don't have all them damn saints down here. Cut it out. It was all Protestant based. Southern Baptist, all that good stuff. All we had was the Bible. Now, the very first ancestors who might have had it, even though they couldn't read it, they understood it for what it was. It was, using Paulo Mayombe terms, wasn't in Kisi. It was an object filled with spirit, kind of like a voodoo doll. They couldn't read it, but they knew that there was something in there. Why did it hold so much importance? And what better weapon than to use your enemy's, tools against him? So they began working with it as just an object, okay? They would tear pages from it, and tuck it places. Even now, there are very old houses that are being remodeled, and once they get through the sheetrock to remodel the house, they're finding crumbled up pieces of Bible that people had tucked into the walls as a means of protection. Now, y'all know we are resourceful people now. You may tell us not to do something, but we gonna find a way. Eventually, if you don't believe that shit, then sit next to one of us, in the damn movie theater. We're not paying $8 for popcorn and $5 for a box of candy. You got brothers and sisters that will sit next to you eating a two-piece, macaroni and cheese, collard greens. We will find a way. We are very resourceful people, and it is out of that quite a few of us learn to read. And once we learn to read, then the game began to change. Because, see, we had our methods of divination. We brought that with us. But no one was able to really bring roots and things like that, except for a few that spirited things in little pouches and in what became mojo bags. Okay? But there wasn't enough to share. But we knew that, okay, we're in a foreign land with foreign spirits, and, and a few of us began to learn how to read. And in reading, we found, because this was already a spiritual book, it was already a book of power by that time. Then once we learned to see what was actually in it, then the game changed. That's when we were able to tuck our own beliefs into certain scripture. Because, see, that's what, the voodoo folks and the Santeria folks and everyone else did with these saints. They didn't actually try to learn about these motherfuckers. What they did was, they said, oh, Shango is, his colors are red and white, and he's this and he's that. Oh, well, Santa Barbara's colors are red and white. So here, we'll put a statue of this motherfucker up here and call it Shango. And Shango came. Okay? Shango came. So what the Southern ancestors did was take the Bible and take pieces of scripture and kind of marry them to our own beliefs. Things like foot track magic, things like spiritual baths, which I'll give you an example of. Because a lot of you ask me, well, I give you a work, and then you'll say, well, what prayer do I? And I'm like, well, I was going to give you that. Slow down, pump your brakes. And they were able to tuck the different works into the Bible. And that's why, after all this, why I hate when people, say, well, I don't deal with the Bible, I don't fuck with it. Because this book was a source of strength for these early ancestors. It's okay to jump back to Africa, but what about the people that were right here that were strong enough to stay? You have got to honor them. We can't say we're part of a culture of ancestral veneration, but you want to cut off like a large group of ancestors, and you want to cut them off from what they found strength in, spiritual and emotional. So you cannot take the Bible out of hoodoo. Hoodoo and the Bible, and the Bible married themselves and sprouted. So you can't do it. Okay? You just absolutely can't do it. So people are out there saying that you can, that you don't have to use it, blah, blah, blah. All they're trying to do is sell you that, their book or their methodology, which comes with their own form of oils and shit like that. All right? All right. So let's get down into how you can actually read the Bible. And, if you have this knee-jerk reaction to it, I tell people, just start reading it like you would any other book. Okay? Like if you want to read It by Stephen King, Amelia Bedelia, what the fuck ever. Just start reading it like you would any other book. Just understand it. It is a spiritual book. So don't be just throwing it and shit. But you see, mine is old, it's worn. There are many dog-eared pages. There are things written in the margins. But just start reading it from cover to cover. And just look for cues. Because there are a lot of works in the Bible and a lot of things that you see passed around nowadays. If they're authentic works, this is where they came from. And I'll give you some examples. Now get your pen and your paper ready, because I'm going to give you a few things before I close this thing out. And this is going to be actually a 2-video series. The second one's going to be more work heavy. But I just wanted to answer some questions about that. A lot of you have been asking about the Bible and hoodoo, and can you separate the two? And no, you can't. If you are, then you're doing something else. I don't know what the fuck you are, but it's not hoodoo. All right? And I took some notes here because I wanted to first tell you it doesn't matter really whether you're in the Old Testament or the New Testament as far as hoodoo works, and I'm purposely staying away from the Psalms because that's all y'all know in this motherfucker. But the majority of the ancestors worked with the Old Testament. Okay, and I want you to think about, diasporic traditions like Palo Mayombe, which came from the Congo region but was really birthed in Cuba, and it was born from oppression, so it's very fiery. Okay, the same thing with Santeria, same situation, born from oppression, is very fiery. Same thing with Haitian voodoo. The average lifespan for a slave that was offloaded in Haiti at the time was like a year. It was 1 year. That's how hard they worked them and dogged those people. So when Haitian voodoo, which was born from Vodun, that's is very fiery. So when the ancestors were looking at this, and once they learned to read what was in it, they stayed with the Old Testament primarily. Why? Because they wanted, look, if you wanted a God that was willing to smite your enemies, and I love Jesus, but he loved everybody. Whereas the Old Testament, he was on some wrath and smiting and kiss my ass, fuck you shit. Pardon my language, Lord, sorry. But it is what it is. That's how he smote everybody. I'm going to kill him dead. And if they don't like me, kill them twice. So that's why a lot of the work is born from the Old Testament. It is. We're talking about, work against enemies and prayers. Like Isaiah 41. Let me find this. I'm going to give y'all some examples before I close this thing out. Some of y'all are sending me messages now because it's popping up on my watch. All right, so Isaiah 14. I'm gonna give y'all something good here. Isaiah 41, 11 and 12. Because a lot of you ask me, for some reason, y'all have a lot of problem with enemies. I really don't have all those problems. But a lot of y'all have problem with enemies and people gossiping about you that y'all care about. People gossip about me all the time. I give two shits. But, a lot of y'all care about it. So here's something y'all can do, or a prayer against gossip. And the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 11, starts off. And it says, "Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish." Now let me stop right there. See, this is a good work for when you have an enemy or someone that's gossiping and you want to confuse them. Just kind of shake their head up a little bit so that maybe, they forget about wanting to bother you. They forget about the issues y'all had. It's like a confusion thing. You could do like the early ancestors before they could read and tear this verse out and put it with a a picture of the person into a bottle of vinegar. And then every day you take that bottle and you spin it. And just spin it. Just imagine if you were on the top and you were spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. You'd be dizzy. You'd be confused. That causes confusion. Okay? And just think here, I'm going to read it again. "Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded." Confounded means they'll be confused. All right? Now you can use this for a stronger work, like burying a person's name or picture in a graveyard. Because it says, "They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish." Perish. Deaden them. Killing them dead. Okay? So be careful with this one, but that's something that can be used for. It can also be used, we're talking about the graveyard. Once you wake a spirit up, and one of the simplest ways of waking a spirit up, and this, I'm not going to give the full work here, but if you just go to a gravestone and knock on it 3 times, you get that spirit's attention. And here Isaiah 41:12 says, "Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them, even them that contended with thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught, as a thing of nothing. Thou shalt seek them and shall not find them." Okay? Now, it's not saying you're going to look for them and not find them. It's saying they're going to be eradicated. There'll be nothing. You can look for them and they're not there. And if you wake that spirit up, thou shalt seek them. You are unleashing that spirit, unleashing the full fury of that spirit to the point that after a while, it won't even find them because there's nothing left. They've been ground to nothing. All right? Like I said, I'm not going to give the full work, but that's an example of ways that you can work with different verses of the Bible. And it's not just in spells. I mean, there are a lot of spells in here. Here's another one, Proverbs. And I give this one out a lot as an example to try to wake y'all up so that you know that you can actually get in here and find good stuff. But it's Proverbs 7:17. And it says, I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloe, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. Now, I'm going to read this one more time, and I want you to think about this. This is Proverbs. You know, hit pause. Go get your Bible. This is Proverbs chapter 7, verses 17 and 18. It says, I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloe, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with love. Let us comfort ourselves with love until the morning. You know what that means? Y'all know what that means. I'm going to be vulgar for a minute, but let us solace ourselves with loves until the morning. Y'all know. Or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That is a recipe for a sexual invigorating / love powder. He said, I've sprinkled that around my bed. It wasn't just a smell good. We know that cinnamon heats up work. It excites, it invigorates. It has a very hot energy to it. You couple that with the evening of the aloe and the healing of aloe. Maybe that person, if you have to do all that, obviously y'all weren't seeing eye to eye. You know, aloe has a very cooling nature to it. It doesn't contend with the cinnamon. It settles down conflict. And myrrh brings blessings. It opens roads. It brings luck. So myrrh, aloe, and cinnamon, you're opening the road to reconciliation, maybe. Or maybe opportunity to lay down with someone you've not laid down with before. Okay, if there's any contention, maybe if it's someone you've never slept with before, they could have hesitation. So the aloe would smooth that out. Maybe it's a husband and wife situation or boyfriend, girlfriend, and y'all are, not seeing eye to eye. The aloe would smooth that out. And then that cinnamon heats things up in the boudoir so that, that makeup sex is good. Or maybe if it's your first time together, what better way than to get invited back for a return engagement than to do a good job the first time you were allowed there. So there you go. That's an example. There are many examples in the Bible of not just recipes, but methodology. Let's flip to Leviticus. And y'all, I could do this all day. I do. That's my job. This is what I do. And I don't just flip to the Psalm and some Anna Reva book and go, oh, no, okay, boom. No, you have to really get into this thing. And when you do, you'll see that there's a lot, if you are really, really sincere about learning true, authentic, powerful conjure work, it's in here. And you can get this book at a thrift store for like $0.25. As opposed to paying shipping and handling for all these bullshit books from Lucky Mojo, Indio, Llewellyn, fuck them, double fuck them, and, the rest of them. Grab your Bible and do a little bit of work. Like I said, okay, we're going to turn to Leviticus. All right, chapter 14, verses 1 through 9. Now, this is Leviticus, and in this particular passage, why I like it is because the Lord is actually giving Moses a recipe to heal someone. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, this shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, Then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds, alive and cleaned, cedar wood, scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. He shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose unto the open field. How many times have you had a cleansing? Those of you who like maybe an ephah or anything like that, and someone will take a bird and will pass it over someone's body. Then the bird is sacrificed. Or just in hoodoo cleansings, where you'll take something and cleanse someone with it, and you might just take it somewhere. That very act of passing it over takes the negativity off of them. And we're talking about spiritually and physically healing someone with this passage. So the ancestors looked at that and they said, well, we don't really have birds to kill. If we did, we wouldn't be as hungry as we are now. They're giving us chitlins and shit. But we do have we have grasses, sweet grasses that are growing around here. They would occasionally get an egg and cleanse with it. It's just the methodology that they saw of cleansing, which was very akin to African beliefs, okay, with the sacrifice, and then the discarding, because you discard that object or that bird, you're letting it free. It's also taking whatever was cleaned off of you away from you. And so, we see methodology in here, but not just that. Now we see that, okay, hyssop, cedar, scarlet, these are some things that you can acquire for your own cleansing recipe. You don't have to take the bird, but remember I say use what you have, all right? You don't have to necessarily go and find 2 birds and kill it and all that stuff, but you can braid these things together, dip them in something that's red, like red clay, and I'm going to get into that in a second, and then discard them after the cleansing to release and do away with, whatever was taken off of that person. Okay, this is not the first time. I mean, I'm mentioning it for the first time now. When I said dipping in something red, it doesn't have to be blood. You don't have to actually perform sacrifice if you're not comfortable with it. But this isn't the first time that a substitute has been used for blood, because a lot of y'all asked me about red brick dust. Y'all saw that damn movie, The Skeleton Key, where they're laying red brick dust, and yes, that is real. Not the way they did it though in the movie. Traditionally, it is scrubbed around the door. It's not just laid in a neat little line, like somebody about to sniff it. It is actually scrubbed with urine at the doorway, to keep negativity and people that mean you harm and evil spirits away from your house. And here's a secret, y'all. The origins of red brick dust lies in the book of Exodus. All right, it lies in the book of Exodus, when the children of Israel were about to be led out. When God was going to send the angel of death to kill the firstborn of everyone in Egypt, and the children of Israel they painted their door and in front of their homes with blood. And that is how the angel of death knew that, okay, these are our people. I'm not going to kill nobody in there. I'm going to keep going. That's the Passover. Okay, the spirit saw the blood and passed over them. Our folks, again, in reading this, again, having very limited access to animals in order to sacrifice, and seeing, you have to understand that this, even though we had our own practices, like I said, it's about using someone's, energy against them. And I said, okay, well, if this is what he recognizes as a protection, this is what we'll use to protect ourselves from the spirit of this land. We're not worried about the witches and stuff that we left back in Africa. No, we're worried about the devils that's here. And if this is what he recognizes as a protection, then hell, I mean, it evidently keeps the evil spirits around his ass away. So we'll keep them away from us too. And so they would use, like here in Georgia, they use Georgia red clay or red brick dust as a means of protecting the homes and stuff like that. Okay. And so, though the ancestors that came here did not come as Christians, over generations, people began to become Christians, and that's why I said, and that's at the same time that hoodoo, was born and rose. So that was my purpose of doing this video. And I know it was kind of dry in the beginning, y'all, and I'm going to give you more works in the next video, because this one is at 35 minutes. I don't want it any longer than that. The next one will be very heavy on works, and I'll label this one Volume 1, Bible Works. And the next one we'll deal with works, and we'll deal with bibliomancy. All right, y'all. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this. We will continue with. I'll give some love works out next video. Keep your comments coming, and guys, if you want to contact me for love work, stuff like that, not just love work, I do road openings, cleansings. I do pretty much do it all. It's just y'all want love work this time of year, but message me if you like to. Text me if you like to inquire about a reading. I call them consultations. If you want to inquire about spiritual work, or if you just want to say hi and get to know me as a person, all right, not just the guy you see on your smartphones and tablets and doodads and blah 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 blah. You just want to get to know me, then feel free to email me, text me. My information will be down below. Also, leave your comments, give me a thumbs up, or share the video if you like. And also, if you would like a prayer request, send them in, y'all. Just send them in. I'll light a candle and pray over your situation. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. You guys are great. I'm about to get me some vittles because I'm hungry. Finish this bad boy off. Finish reading a little bit more on this because I study every day. And may the Lord bless y'all and keep y'all and make his face to shine upon you. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.